there, I have returned from my long trip and tiredness, and we are back with a topic that I think is quite important to go through today, because I think that skill skins in general are quite misunderstood. They're quite difficult to understand for new players, and even some quite old players, I say, don't really understand how skins work in this game. Skins in Dragon City are actually incredibly free-to-play friendly, which seems like a ridiculous thing for me to say. But something that I will go through today is that when you own a skin, that means that you can see the skin on the enemy. But what a lot of players don't actually know is that if you don't own the skin yourself, you will never see that appear on the enemy during battle. Now, you will see the actual skin when you go into a battle. However, like if I was to open my arena right now, I've been away, so I haven't been grinding it. But you see that we can see the High Ashwing skin right now. We can see his clown nose, for instance. We can see this skin on the enemy. But let's say that this was a skill skin, and so this skin had like extra attack, extra HP. When we actually go into this battle against this High Ashwing, although we'll actually physically see the skin, none of the active effects would activate. So, since High Ashwing isn't the best example, since he doesn't actually have an active skill skin, I've created a quick sort of infographic to try and explain this in concept. And also, I will go through each of the skills themselves, specifically the HVIP skill skins and what each of them do, and this really great resource on the Dragon City Competitive List Fandom.com link, because this is how you can see what every single skill skin does in the game. I'm not sure if this is 100,000% accurate in every single description, but one thing that this website does is it goes through exactly like how much more damage, how much more HP, like 30%, 60% or whatever it might be. It goes through this for every single skill skin in the game, which is something that the game does a horrible job of actually going through. So we can go through each of these shortly, but before that, you need to understand how the skill skins actually work. And this is the reason why myself, as a free-to-play, I actually prefer not picking up skill skins even if we have active events for them. Because, you know, we have events with collections, and from these events you can pick up skill skins for them. And there is a reason why I say that I actually prefer not having them as a free-to-play. Which, you know, it's contentious, but it's just easier to deal with if you don't have them. So, using this quick infographic, we've got this first battle here. Let's say that your team is Rick, Deadlock, and High Ascended Supreme. None of these dragons have skill skins on them, so you don't own any skill skins, say you're full free to play or whatever. And then you go into an arena battle, and you see enemy dragons, which is a Karma, it's Deadlock with skin, and it is High Ascended Supreme with his Violet skin. In this first red battle here, there would be no active skins during the whole battle. So the reason for this is purely because you do not own the skin for Deadlock and you do not own the skin for High Ascended Supreme. So even though you'll see this red Deadlock and this purple High Ascended Supreme during the battle, their boosted skills won't actually be active. So you'll be fighting an enemy team that is identical to you, but that just looks slightly different. Well, I say that, apart from the Karma and the Rick, of course. But in terms of the enemies, their skin will not activate. So that is scenario one, and that is why for free-to-plays, you actually have a big advantage, because it means that, you know, you haven't spent the money, you don't have the skill skin, and neither do any of your enemies, so that is great. Now, the second scenario that we have is this one here, where there would be one active skin during battle. So, your team is Rick, it is Deadlock with skin, and it's High Ascended Supreme without skin, so regular has, versus Karma, and Deadlock with skin, and the Violet skill skin of Has. In this case, you only have the skill skin for Deadlock, so that means that the enemy will also have the active skill skin for Deadlock, but it won't have the active skill skin for High Ascended Supreme. So, whatever skin you own as a player, that will activate the skill skin in the enemy also. That is the fundamental way of thinking about it. And then, just as another example, this would be two active skill skins. So you've got Rick, you've got your second dragon with skill skin, you've got your third dragon with skill skin. The enemy has Karma active skill skin, active skill skin. So because you've got 2 active skill skins and you've got the same skill skin, I'm gonna die if I say skill skin again, but you're gonna have the same active skins as the enemy because, again, you have that skin, they have that skin. So this is a really quick way of thinking about it, but essentially if you go into a battle and you have no skins, you don't have to worry about skins ever. So if you are looking to get the skill skin for the Royal Leader skill skin for, Leader Bliss, for instance, if you get this skin, then it will activate on all of the enemies. So the reason why I say it's easier to deal with when we go into arenas if you don't actually have a skin is just simply because you can just go into the battle as if nothing is wrong, basically. It means that if you do activate the skill skin on your dragons at any point, like say you unlock the Deadlock skill skin, that means that you have to face that from that point onwards. Whereas if you've got no active skins, you can just do it as a regular old battle. So you don't have to worry about any of the faffing, any of the knowing all the intricacies of that skin or anything. And it just means that you're not forced to take a dragon to level 70. Because let's be honest, if you do have a skill skin and say it's on a level 45 dragon, like my Deadlock for instance, I'm probably going to be forced to actually go ahead and level up that dragon in case I ever face a Deadlock with that skin in a battle. So it just sort of forces your hand a little bit, and it's not something that I'm not a big fan of being forced into using a specific dragon. So that's the reason why I'm not too happy about it or having to use it. But of course, at the end of the day, if you want to own the skin, you are going to take the dragon to level 70, it would be a good idea to, then use it in your battles, and then you will occasionally face it in your enemies as well. But otherwise, you're just going to have an easy battle like that. We assume that High Ashwing had some sort of skill on his skin, even though it doesn't, and it's just a regular old battle. But I own the Ashwing skill skin, so I would have faced it if I did in fact have a skill on that dragon, but there is no skill on that skin. So there are lots of skins in this game that don't have active skills with them, and then we also have the ones that do have active skills on them. So if we go to this page, again, I will link this for you, but this page is very, very useful. So if I take off the Deadlock skill skins section and just put the main page in, skill skins information. Skill skins is going to become my new phrase, I think. But either way, this page is very useful. It goes through every skill skin that I'm aware of right now. And so the first one it goes through is High Ascended Supreme. So it talks about the differences in how it looks. So it's golden, there's a red layer, the planet that it holds in its right hand is pink instead of orange. So if you want to know exactly how it differs from the basic skin, it will go through it, but I think it would be easier to just, download an image of regular Has, compare it to this one if you're not familiar. And you can get those images quite easily from like Ditlep or anything. Like if we just open up Ditlep and then just search for, Ascended Supreme, then we've got all the Ascendeds here. If we click on High Ascended Supreme, you can see his blue skin here, and then if we compare that to the skill skin there, you can see this one's very blue, that one is not as blue. So it's that easy. I would suggest doing that. If you ever can't tell what skin it is, then that is a way of doing that. But then it goes to skin advantages. So in this case, it says the Divine Intervention ability deals twice as much damage as normal, having 2,500 points of damage instead of 1,800, which is a significant increase. Divine Intervention ability cooldown is reduced from 3 to 2, which is huge, and the Dark Element attack deals more damage, having 2,000 points instead of 1,500. So there's that one. Then the Violet skill skin, instead, the Divine Sacrifice deals more damage. Divine Sacrifice, when it's used, it loses 30% of HP instead of 60%. This 0.2 of this Violet skill skin is honestly a massive difference for High Ascended Supreme. It makes him from a gigantic glass cannon into a medium glass cannon. But that is one of the primary reasons why this skin is considered like one of the best in the game. And then Divine Sacrifice ability cooldowns have been reduced from 3 to 2. Ability heals other allies much more than normal. So this one, compared to the other one, seems very overpowered, and it is. This website does have its own skill skin ranking system. I don't know if I actually agree with it. but you can always go through and see what the website has to say. But I would just say in general, just learning what the skill skins do is better than trying to put them all into an individual ranking, because it's just way too complicated to do that, in my opinion anyway. But anyway, this is your website to go to find out all of this information about what every skin does. If you're not sure what a skill skin does at any point, and like there's the active collection and you're like, oh, hi Quantum Wormhole, should I spend the money to get his skill skin or is it not worth it? The game at the time of release explains this, but after the active event is gone, this information is pretty much impossible to find anywhere in game. So it is very annoying. I wish that Dragon City did a better job of actually communicating important information like this in-game. But I guess since if you don't own the skin, you're not going to see them anyway. Maybe that is their logic. But if you ever get outside of the event timeframe and you want to know what these skins actually do, this website is very useful for that. So we could just do Control F, Wormhole, and we could search for the Wormhole skill skins right here. So this one shows you the one with the open helmet, for instance, and it shows you that with this skin, the advantages are the Atomic Ace deals more damage, Atomic Ace turns into an extra turn ability, and the Beauty Element attack deals more damage. So there is that one. And then if we go to the Black Hole skill skin, which is the red one, then the advantages, as explained in game, Gravity Hole deals more damage, Gravity Hole ability cooldowns reduced from 4 to 3, Dark Element deals more damage, so then there's increases the dragon's health, and the dragon becomes category 15. And these categories, if you're not sure what categories are, it's just a way of putting them into a specific class based on their stats. So category 15 doesn't mean it's the bestest dragon of all time, because category 11 is the category for heroics. It just means that category 15 is its own individual value. So any dragon that has the same base attack and damage as this skill skin would become a category 15 dragon. It's just a way of classifying them, so don't look into it too much. But like if we've got Deadlock, for instance, since I use that as an example, we can go to the Deadlock skill skin, and then here it shows us that with this skin, it changes Deadlock into increases the dragon's health stat by 25%, Ruling Parasite's ability deals 20% more damage if the enemy does a life-stealing ability, and the dragon becomes category 14. So again, that is mainly just because it's increased the dragon's health stat, therefore it becomes Cat 14. So that is why it says that. And they've put this skill skin as a rank AA on the website. Again, I wouldn't look into them too much, but I would say that it is a very, very nice skill skin, and it changes Deadlocked from a whatever dragon to actually quite a good one. That bonus HP makes a very big difference. So, there is that. But like I said, I think if you're not sure about what each of these skins do, we've even got the Turbo skill skin for Bolt here, which I do have myself. We've got the High Occult Titan skill skin. We've got Curse skill skin for Hadge. There is a lot of information to go through. So if you're not sure what the skin does, and say you want to buy the skin, say it goes on sale at some point, and you want to check what it does before you purchase it, definitely check the website. And just for, say, the Berserker Dragons, the Berserker Dragons are kind of whatever, but they become actually quite good, some of them, once their skins are activated. So just as an example, let's go through Bedweir quickly. Bedweir, with the skin, the Bedweir Bash ability deals more damage, having 2,500 instead of 2,000, and it increases the Berserker ability damage boost by 15%. So, it's not huge, but it does make a big difference if we are talking about a dragon that is pure damage. It wants to do more damage, which means even more damage is going to be even better for it. And improving their abilities does make a big difference on these dragons as well. And some of them, arguably, look a lot cooler. So if you really want the dragon to look cooler and you just really want to know what the skill skin does for it, this is a good way of checking. Perma Wound is such a nice looking dragon, for instance, and with his skin, the Perma Wound ability deals more damage. When Perma Wound ability is used, the dragon will lose, well, this doesn't have a set value, but it will lose a percent of HP instead of 20%, and increases the Berserker ability damage boost by 15%. Again, some of these aren't going to be 100,000% accurate as far as I'm aware, but it will give you a very general idea of what each of these skins do. So it's mainly going to be for the older skins, like, say, Haz, Hadge, all of those from the old events that aren't really easily accessible in-game now. So I'd highly recommend going through and checking those, but it's just something to be very aware of when you are playing these events, when you're going for these collections, because their impact on how you would deal with arena fights, it does make a big difference. Because if I go into an arena battle, as a full free-to-play, I'm thinking, well, I'm facing an enemy that is just purely non-skinned. Always. I don't have to worry about it, unless it's Bolt, unless it's Deadlock. But the thing is, I want a Deadlock just to get Deadlock anyway, but when you finish that collection, you get the skin as a default, which is kind of annoying. So is it even worth getting Deadlock? I still think so, just because I want more Dragon anyway. So Deadlock is probably one of the exception cases where I'm like, you know, I'd say that that's probably just worth picking up for a good Dragon anyway. But obviously you will have to face more HP permanently from that point onwards once you do that. Now, you're not going to be facing skill skins every single battle, unless you are in like highest tier master rank, and then that is normally where I end up, Masters 3. It's just obviously I've not been grinding out this particular set of arenas at the moment because I've been too busy. But it does also depend on skill-based matchmaking as well as to the sort of enemies you're going to run into. But you may end up running into tons of level 70 skilled enemies as a free-to-play. But it doesn't mean you're actually going to have to face their skins. So that's something very, very positive that you can take out of this. If anything doesn't make sense, just let me know. But I think it is quite simple. It's just, I see so many players assume that obviously people are going to pay for these skins, so you're going to face them, right? No, you're not. So is Dragon City actually pay to lose? In some ways, kind of, because you've got to think, you're going to pay money to buy a skin, and that's actively going to make your entire experience more difficult. Like, imagine if you run into someone that's got 3 High Arcana Judgment skins and you've only got, you've just got your skin. You've got your one skin version, but they could buy multiple of them, for instance. Like, if you think about it in that sense, it could be considered pay to lose, but, you know, at the end of the day, you will still have the option of using the dragon and using the skin yourself. It's just not something that I think is normally worth it, personally. But, you know, if you like the skin, you like the dragon, you're probably going to want the skin for it in a lot of cases. It's just be very aware before you go purchasing these skins that it could actually work against you if you're not careful. So it's just something to be very aware of when you are going through your grinding, your arena grinding, and just your general Dragon City gameplay experience. So before this, were you actually aware that this was a thing? Because again, I run into lots of people every single day, especially on Discord, that have absolutely no idea that this is a thing. You know, they just assume the skins are always going to be active, but it's not true. So, in a sense, if you are a newer player and you're like getting worried about hearing about all of these new skill skins, collection skins and everything, and you're worried about how your arena is going to go, you take anything from this. Look, my enemies are super easy. Pre-master, obviously, then we'll get into master and they'll get slightly more difficult. But then again, it's been a few days of Masters 1, so Masters 1 is going to be easy, Masters 2 is going to be easy. The real challenge of this game comes at Masters 3, but thanks to skill-based matchmaking now, you don't even have to really worry about it too much. Like, you can get to Masters 3, and you can get, like, top 10 Masters 3 now with, like, level 40 dragons. It's possible. So, this game, in the last, I would say, 6 months, surprisingly, in my opinion, has become a hell of a lot more free-to-play friendly, which, again, it seems incredibly weird to say that, and some people will be like, but it's a gem-based, you know, pay-to-win, hyper-pay-to-win game, like, how is that possible? It's just these mini things that they implement in-game that make a whole world of difference. Like, again, I've never encountered a game like this before that makes it so that skins that you pay for just do not activate on the enemies if you don't own them. Maybe I just don't pay enough attention to mobile games, which I don't because I don't like them that much. But this is a very, very positive one, and it's one of the reasons why I still play this game, because no matter all the terrible decisions they make and the lack of bug fixing on things like Phoenix perk bug, you know, I can sort of overlook that sometimes when I can achieve so much free to play. And here's an example of a more of these skins that we can actively see, but these aren't really going to do anything. But if these had skills with them, then it's not actually going to make any difference because, again, I don't own these skill skins. Well, not for High Whisperer anyway. So if he had an active skill, it wouldn't matter. If Hex had an active skill, it wouldn't matter because I don't own it. But we can just consider these regular old battles. We can go and fight them as we normally would. So I have a nice chill time in Arena, fully free to play. And I mean, it's not like my selection of dragons is crazy or anything. I'm more so a collector than I am a big empowerment person. My team of dragons do fine, but it's not like I've gone the pay-to-win route or focused on the most meta-heavy dragon. I just level up the dragons that I want to level up. I don't worry about, specific matters. I don't worry about the best of the best, because some of the best options for me would be High Arcana Judgment, High Redemption Norm, and I could have traded for them, but I didn't want them, so I didn't get them. Instead, I've got Haz and Harpy. So it really doesn't make that much of a difference, to be honest with you. If you still want to have a good experience in game, you do not need the best of the best dragons in this game to do well. Easily free to play. It's mainly just about how consistent you are with logging in, and having all this extra information about skins, events and things like that will help you to become more knowledgeable and just help you to make better decisions. But trust me, when it comes to getting these skill skins, you don't need them. Obviously picking them up, maybe you just want them because like the red one looks kind of cool, but you don't need them to do well. So that is going to be my takeaway for you today. But yeah, let me know if this all makes sense. I think it's a great thing, and I think more games should implement this for the free-to-play players to still remain active and keep playing without having to, just get completely zoned out by these hyper pay-to-win skins. I think this is a really good thing. And, poop on Social Point when they do things wrong. This is a very, very, very good thing that they have in game. Please do not change this Social Point. Of all the good things you've got, leave this as it is. I hope that I have not jinxed it.